there's no better time to make an appearance, a grand appearance back onto my YouTube channel than when I have sweat down my face. I'm a little bit stumbly and a little bit dazed and confused. I would dare say barely hanging on by a thread, but I am on day 2 of my liquid diet. Surgery was approved. It all happened very fast. I got approved and then they called me and they're like, hey, we had a cancellation. Look, I'm too weak. I can't even hold my phone up. It's bad, guys. It's bad. Just kidding. I did study the dramatics and the theatrics in, all schools. High school, college, So I am a wee bit dramatic, but what I'm saying is I got approved by insurance and then they called me like a week later and said, hey, we had a cancellation. Do you want to have surgery in like 2.5 weeks? And I'm like, absolutely I do. Absolutely I do. And so I got on the schedule and they're like, okay, you're going to start your liquid diet on September 24th. And I had to meet with the doctor the Thursday before that. And I was like, okay, great. Maybe it wasn't 2.5 weeks. Maybe it was like 3 weeks. And so I met with the doctor. And then from Thursday until Monday, I proceeded to eat all the things because that's what felt right. That's what felt important. That was how I was going to shoot myself in the foot. What's so funny is that, I think everybody who finally gets to the point where they're like, yeah, I'm going to need a surgery if I want a chance in double Barbie legs. I don't know if I can swear on this channel, but when people get to the place where they're like, if I want a chance to beat obesity, I'm just gonna have to go under the knife. All right. When people get to be that desperate, it's just interesting what what shows up for them as like still hard. For me, the keto diet before surgery, I cannot tell you how hard that was and how many times I failed. So hard, so much failure. Here, maybe I can get through this if I create a little tripod. Oh, this is bad. We're just gonna go like this. Okay. Yeah. We all have our mountains to climb once we decide to get to this point. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and some people struggle with the post-op being compliant. Some people are like, oh my gosh, now I have to like cope with my emotions. Oh, wow. I didn't realize how much I turned to food every time I got, sorry, it is so loud in here. They're playing. Which is good, but let me move again. Oh, look, we finally have our toy room. I painted this the day before I started my liquid diet. And then we got carpet in yesterday. And when I woke up from my very much needed nap, Dan had brought all the toys in. Where am I gonna sit? Oh my gosh, maybe this is gonna turn into my filming studio. Let me just turn this off. So people still struggle. People still have, things that they have to overcome. The benefit of it taking 10 months to go through this process is that I've had 10 months to look at all of the demons that I already knew were there, and 10 months to look at some of the demons that I had forgotten about, pushed away, you know, discovered new ones that I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that that was actually causing me so much stress. So I feel like I have watched a lot of videos and I've tried to take what people say, like what I wish I would have known or what I wish I would have, done. And I guess try really hard not to make those same mistakes. It's funny, I couldn't really find very many people who were like, okay, I'm going to go through weight loss surgery. I'm sure they're out there, but I didn't really look that hard. Who are like me, who've like tried and tried and failed and tried and failed and had so many other complicating factors that have contributed to the weight gain. Genetics, that's a big one for me. Blood sugar stuff. I had gestational diabetes 3 times. And then my A1C was a little bit high. I was pre-diabetic for a very brief period of time. I have Hashimoto's. That right there was probably like the biggest factor that I feel like I'm just a dog chasing my tail with the weight, with the energy, with everything else working. And the only time I felt like I could ever really get a handle on it is if I eliminated so many foods. And that was really hard for me. That was really hard for me because I still had the cravings. I still had the emotional attachment to food, and I still have a family, and the temptations were just, it was too hard. It was too much. So what I'm saying is I've tried to look at all of the reasons that I failed in the past and look at all of the things that people have recommended or like talked about, like what I wish I would have known or what I wish I would have done. And during all those videos, I feel like my brain is just like short circuiting. I'm struggling. So I hope that I'm making sense. But one thing that a lot of people say was like they cheated on their pre-op liquid diet. And I'm like, you cheated on the liquid diet part? Whoa. I mean, there's not judgment, but it's like, okay, I don't want to be that person because people, it's like, and I also don't want to be the person who has the surgery and then says, oh my gosh, now I'm realizing that I turn to food when I'm upset, or I turn to food when I'm bored, or I turn to food and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have that big like aha moment after surgery. By the time I go in for surgery, I want to have so many things ironed out. I want to have my life in order. I want to have my recipes in order. I want to like know exactly what I'm going to do, because really you've got about 6 months to make, like that is when you've got that honeymoon period after weight loss surgery to like really maximize the results. And I'm like, I have hated being this overweight and continuing to gain and lose all these years. And if I'm going to go through the surgery, I am not messing around. So I feel like even though I really struggled with the diet leading up to it, a lot of it was mental. That mental belief of like, well, I'm just learning. I'm just practicing. I'm learning how to cook steak. I'm learning how to cook a pork chop. I'm learning what is stressing me out in life. I'm learning what I need to have my kids doing. I'm learning how Dan and I need to divide and conquer. I'm learning what time I need to go to bed if I want to get up early. I'm learning that I need to go see a foot doctor so I can like have a foot brace and figure out why my foot hurts, because I haven't been able to exercise or walk because of foot pain, because of hip pain, because of my pelvis falling apart after each baby, sciatic nerve pain. I mean, like literally for the last 8 years, I have had mobility issues. So I'm like in physical therapy, going to the foot doctor, like trying to make sure that once I am like post-op that I am just like on a straight line. I just want to go like 100 miles an hour on the interstate, no curves, no stopping for gas, no stopping to like reevaluate. Now that's my goal. Who knows if that will happen? Obviously, I will be honest about what happens. But I don't want that 6-month period of time for me to be learning and having like, oh crap moments. So I do feel like the last 10 months has been incredible. I'm in personal counseling. I'm in marriage counseling, which interestingly enough, very quickly turned into, Stephanie, I need to work with you one-on-one for a little while. You've got some issues. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I am walking on eggshells when I don't even need to be. I did not marry my father. Love my dad. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm not gonna like shame anybody on the internet. But one thing that I've learned is that I think that even in my marriage, I have been worried that I'm gonna get a certain negative reaction that maybe I saw in my home growing up. And so I'm always like hyper vigilant, and I don't need to do that anymore. Look how messy my toy room is. And guess what? I wasn't in charge yesterday. This is Dan's mess. But it's actually not Dan's mess. It's our kids' mess. But Dan was okay with it. And I'm like, I need to be okay with it because I have to trust that Dan can be okay with it. Anyway, I'm all over the place. I'm on my 2nd day of my liquid diet. I thought I was going to die of my brain exploding last night. I couldn't even fall asleep. My head hurt so bad. And I couldn't remember if I could take pain meds or not. And so I didn't even have the energy to get out of bed to find my paperwork to look. This morning, my husband said, yeah, you should have taken some Tylenol. I'm like, oh, okay. So what I'm doing right now is I'm having 2 shakes a day. I can have Premier Protein shakes. I bought some special bariatric protein for my doctor, and it's disgusting. And I'm like, I think I'm just going to stick with my cases and cases of Premier Protein because, yeah, at least I love those. I love the Premier Protein. I like protein shakes that are already mixed up. For some reason, when I mix it up at home, that like way fake sweet taste just makes me want to gag. So I'm going to try to do a mix of my bariatric proteins and then get through my Premier Proteins. So I get 2 protein shakes a day. So that's 300 calories. Lucky me. And then I'm taking a calcium chew that tastes like a giant Starburst. That was honestly the high point of my day yesterday when I was like, oh yeah, I get to take one of these chewy vitamins that I got. My doctor sells like these packs that come with the vitamins and the shakes that you'll need for your pre-op and the first 3 weeks after. And those calcium chews, I wish that the serving size was 2, but it was just 1, and it was delicious. I thought I was going to pass out all day yesterday, but luckily Dan was off, and so I actually slept for a few hours yesterday. I get to have bone broth, so I'm just going to go get some bones from the butcher and make me some bone broth. And I already have like some sugar-free Jell-O made. I can have sugar-free Jell-O. I had some of that this morning, and then I'm taking my 2 shakes and I'm going to break them up so that I have 4 mini shakes. And I went for a walk this morning because some video said that if you exercise a little bit, do some mild exercise, that you'll actually feel better. And so far, that's true. I still have some headaches, but my surgeon said that after 3 days on the liquid diet, I should be better. So I'm going to keep this one. Oh my gosh, it's already 14 minutes. I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to be doing some updates every couple days. So if you could all add me to every prayer list on the internet with anybody who is taking prayers right now, please add my name. Pray for me that I can get through this liquid diet. Thanks.